Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Sportsvival Kingdom, doing our first remote show away from JT's 900-square-foot palatial estate, we bring you the second official Sportsvival podcast, live from the Steel Cage. We have JT, Jim, and this is Stone Cold Johnny Steele, bringing you the latest in sports news and entertainment. And we have a wrap-up show from the Super Bowl last week. The big question is, going into the game, we had two people on this board saying that it was going to be a blowout by Carolina. Without pointing any fingers, I'm pointing away from myself right now at JT and Jimmy. What do you guys say? I'm going to go to JT first.
Well, I honestly said that Carolina would beat Denver. I didn't say it'd be a blowout like you said. I
called the blowout.
Jimmy called the blowout, but yes. I did say I would not be shocked if Denver would win this game because the NFL has a way of playing fairy tale endings. But that statement being said, I didn't think there was a chance Denver would beat Carolina, and especially not manhandle them the way they did.
I called a snooze fest, and I don't remember the third quarter because I was asleep. But that could have been the halftime show. That was pretty bad, too. So, I mean, all in all, it was a pretty boring thing there, I think. But
well, with the halftime show being what it was, I think us opening up with Public Enemy was a great lead into the Super Bowl comments. I remember me saying, without saying it was me, one of us saying that
it was Bobby.
It was Bobby. Yeah, it was Bobby. It wasn't actually me. It was my alter ego, Bobby, saying that it was Denver by 10 and take the under. And came out exactly that. So what I'm trying to get at here is,
he's a legend.
Next year, if you're looking to make some money,
don't go with him because he blew his wad.
Contact me. You can lay that money down on the table as if you know the results of the game, as if it's already been played. And if I happen to screw up one week, you can go to JT, and JT's going to back me up 100% and come through and refund all the money that you put on it.
So who's winning next year?
Who's going to win the Super Bowl next year?
Yeah,
Carolina.
By
how many points?
Yeah. I mean,
God, we don't know who they're playing yet.
Doesn't matter.
No, honestly, next year, I'm going to call right now. It's going to be Pittsburgh, Carolina. Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl. That's my call right now.
I think that could definitely happen. We talked about that last week, about the Steelers team. The other thing is, too, with the Sportsvival family, Tom Javor did pick Denver also. He wrote the first article on the site. He didn't say by 10.
Yeah.
He didn't say by 10, but he ragged me the next day for posting as Sportsvival saying I thought Carolina would win 31-17. So, but I think many experts thought that. But I mean, let's talk about Peyton Manning in the game. I mean, if he does leave like that, he didn't really win that game, did he? I mean, it's defense, all defense.
Right.
And then the fact was too that we were actually talking during the game. I know we were talking on Facebook and that during the game that Von Miller and I actually thought DeMarcus Ware would split the MVP this year, but it actually went right to Von Miller.
Yes. Von Miller had a hell of a game.
They both did.
2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles.
That's true, and DeMarcus Ware had 2.5 sacks and he recovered a fumble. But I mean,
I think it was the other way. Well, maybe you're right. I don't know.
I think it was 2.5 for DeMarcus. So, but anyways, do you think Manning? That's one question going in. Does Manning come back next year?
No, he's done.
Done. Think he's done?
Done like dinner.
Yeah.
There's a rumor about. The only thing I think is L.A. L.A. has this way of, and Magic Johnson and Peyton Manning were on a late night show. I can't remember. I think it was Jimmy Fallon. They were on there late at night, and Magic was saying how he wants him to come to L.A. Let's get Peyton to L.A. I'll bring some money in. Let's get him to L.A. And Peyton didn't say anything. He sort of smiled. But that would be my only way he's coming back because Denver's got Brock Osweiler, and he's young.
Peyton's done. It's over. And it's fine. He had a great career.
Yeah,
right?
He definitely did.
And he's going out on top. What other way would he want to go out?
That's true.
Why come back another year and spoil everything he did? He won, be done. He got in a couple of plugs. Hugged Papa John. Talked about
Budweiser. The Budweiser. He gave him $3.2 million of free advertising.
Exactly. And that's what
but
kills
he owned
me.
stock in Budweiser.
He owned a couple of distributors in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he owned a couple of distributors in Louisiana, so he was getting it for that, I guess. I don't know. But I know that the NFL has a strict policy that you can't endorse alcoholic beverages, and that's the second time he did it. What are you gonna do? We all investigated.
Are we allowed to plug alcoholic beverages on this show?
Oh, definitely. We plugged it last week about Jimmy getting a wheelbarrow and not bringing us anything, which he brought a bottle of wine today for Mrs. Steele, but didn't bring us alcohol again.
No. I could go upstairs. We could steal that wine and bring it back down here. Here, I have a serious question, though, and I don't know what the answer to this is. Has a winning and Super Bowl quarterback ever had a lower passer rating in the game than what Manning had? I think Manning's was 56, I want to say.
Roethlisberger's first one was bad. He didn't throw for a lot of yards in Super Bowl 40.
I want to say if there was maybe like a Trent Dilfer,
That's
maybe
what I
in
was
Baltimore,
thinking.
or I mean I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would say Dilfer, like he said, Ben, or even
It's
I
hard
think
to-
John Elway had a bad one year with Denver, and they came through, and Elway left his career the same way Peyton Manning did, which was a win.
And you figure those Super Bowls with New England when they lost like 54-10 or something like that, they had to have bad ratings, and then of course beforehand they didn't do ratings, so we'll never know what happened in Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that had to be one of the worst. I mean, and Cam Newton was 18 of 41 or whatever, way under 50% of his passes, and he looked like a mess. For as good as he was all year, he was a mess.
Your
He was a
guys'
mess.
thoughts on the fumble? Did he dog it?
No, I don't think he did. Honestly, I watched that, okay?
His body was in a weird position. He was like sort of the way his legs were. He would have had to almost like fall back and then dive forward to get it.
I don't know. It looked at me like he moved out of the way. I don't know. To me,
I watched it, okay, and I watched it probably 10 times afterwards because to me it looked like he thought that there was a chance that he wasn't going to get that ball, but
and
it
then
may squirt out.
Then it squirted out, and he almost did get once it squirted out.
So that's what my initial thought was, that the man was just waiting for that ball to squirt out. He saw a scrum coming, and he was in the right spot. And it almost worked out.
One thing I will say, though, the last quarter and a half of the game, his field demeanor, his demeanor on the field, he just did not look like he wanted to be there. I mean, they would go 3 and out. He put his head down. He wasn't showing any leadership skills, and I was actually shocked for the season he had. How Denver just took everything away from Carolina right off the bat.
They absolutely decimated the man. His performance in the third reminded me of, I believe it was when Terrell Owens was playing for Cincinnati, and I don't know if you remember that last game he played for them. Just his attitude, it was over, and it was over in his mind before it was actually officially over. You could just tell by looking at the man he was beaten. Going into that fourth quarter, I would have bet you my house versus $100 that there was no way he was coming back to win that game. He looked like a fighter that got punched in the mouth and just had nothing left, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to beat that team.
I think Terrell Owens, he never played for Cincy.
Are you sure? I thought he
San
did.
Fran.
San Fran, Dallas.
Hold on, who am I thinking of then?
Maybe
Johnson.
Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco.
Didn't Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson both play on the Bengals for one season?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either.
I'm going to Google that right now.
We'll have to Google it. But I know Ocho Cinco, then Chad Johnson, then Ocho Cinco, and then was he Chad Johnson again?
Like Philadelphia, you might be thinking too.
Yeah, Terrell Owens did play the Eagles.
Maybe it was Philadelphia, but I could have sworn it was the Bengals because I thought they were on the same team. Because remember they had that same stupid show on Spike TV,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I thought they played on the same team at that time.
I don't think.
He did. He played for the Bengals. There it is.
Ah.
Oh, look at that.
So stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Once again, Bobby Steele with another perfect prediction.
Wow, I had a brain fart. Was that a 1 year? Was that a
It
1
was
year
a
thing?
one-year deal. It was a one-year deal. Look, there he is right there. Look
Did
at
he
that
miss the
thing.
whole season to injury? 'Cause I honestly don't remember the Steelers playing Terrell Owens in a Bengals jersey. Do you?
Well,
I don't recall either.
He didn't have a very good year, so
Clearly.
it's very easy to forget the fact that he played.
Was that
for
the
Cincinnati
Carson
Bengals.
Palmer era?
No, it was post Carson Palmer. No, you know what? It was. Yeah. I want to say it was maybe 2 years after the Steelers knocked him out of the playoffs.
I got to see his stats, and since I'm shocked. I'm gonna see if he played Pittsburgh. 'Cause I do not remember the Steelers playing the Bengals
So
with Terrell Owens on the field.
it was at the end of the man's career, so let's not harp too much on it. Back to the Cam Newton thing. Do you think, but going into the game, everyone was talking about passing the torch. This is Peyton Manning passing the torch to Cam Newton. He's going to be the new face of the league, and that's the way it was going to roll. Do you think after, A, his performance on the field, and B, how bad he acted in the press conference afterwards, which to me was embarrassing to watch, do you think that still happens next year? Do you think he's going to be the face of the league going forward? What do you think happens with that?
I don't think it's a given. I think guys like Andrew Luck,
Still Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I mean, Andrew Luck had a really bad season this past year, but Andrew Luck to me is a future quarterback that could be the face of the NFL. You got some of these young guys coming up. Even Jameis Winston, the way he played this year as a rookie, he could be the guy that comes up. Tampa Bay starts getting better.
RJ3.
Not RG3 or Manziel. They might be.
It looks like they're going to one of them.
Yeah,
going to the Cowboys.
Well, it looks like Manziel and RG3 could both be backing up Romo this year. But you talk about a soap opera there. But
I seen Dallas didn't want Manziel. So
yeah, well, Jerry Jones is trying to save face because he was supposed to want to draft him in the first round.
I don't think Peyton was able to pass the torch because I think his old arm couldn't get the torch up in the air to hand it off to him.
Yeah, that's the other. I think Manning's definitely.
It hit in the dirt about 5 yards in front of him.
Yeah, I was actually shocked more than anything too with the way Manning was throwing the ball that Carolina's defense wasn't getting on
Didn't
top
jump
of it.
on that.
No, some of them eye patterns. I'm like, geez, oh man, they were floating out there.
Their defense played not to lose.
Yep.
And I think they
Denver's
played
team
safe.
played to win
they
the
didn't want to
game.
get beat, and Denver's went after it, and they went to win it.
I have a serious question. Can you think of a quarterback in the NFL who could have lost that game for Denver with that same game plan?
You know what? Honestly, in all honesty, I don't think the way Denver's defense was, I mean, a quarterback would have had to literally throw 3 interceptions, fumble 2 times. I mean, all Peyton Manning had to do is just status quo, hand the ball off, don't turn it over. He saw it by his stats. He didn't have to win the game, and he didn't. I don't think there's a quarterback that really would have lost that.
Well, maybe let's just do it this way. Bengal quarterback could have definitely lost.
Yeah, because
It's a
Pac-Man
playoff game.
Jones would have came out.
That's true, too.
Shot
Yeah.
somebody. Or,
Well, that's only if Marvin Lewis was on the sideline, which that's another story for another time, how that guy still has a job.
Yes.
Money.
0-8 in the playoffs. I mean,
he's one of the longest tenured coaches in the league.
I actually think he may be the longest tenured with his team right now, by far. Actually, I think.
Isn't when Belichick? I'm trying to think of when Belichick.
It's phrase.
It's between the two of them.
Belichick and Lewis. I think Lewis might have been there a little bit earlier. I think Lewis was in Cincy whenever Belichick had his little run in Cleveland.
Nah, that's too
No,
far
you don't
back.
think it was
I
that?
think that's too far back.
Yeah, that's way too far back.
We'll
Edit that out.
What sport? And this is a perfect time for us to mention that we're looking for a statistician to sit here with us and tell us whether or not we're complete idiots. For instance, whenever I bring up the Terrell Owens thing, you could just said either, no, you're an idiot, he never played for the Bengals, or he's right, he played for the Bengals. We need somebody with 100% sports knowledge. We're going to take a quick break.
And not Ralph, by the way.
No offense, Ralph. No, you're always welcome here, Ralph. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with some more thoughts about Peyton Manning, and we'll be back in a minute.
All right. And we're back. Let's talk about something. There he goes off running. Let's talk about something post game. Let's talk about Cam Newton real quick. What you guys think of after the game, the post the news conference, the getting up, the walking out?
You know what? I have mixed feelings on it.
I'm with you on that.
I'm a guy. When I played sports, I don't take losing very lightly. If I mess up or something, you can ask PJ. I've thrown helmets, I've kicked helmets when I play baseball, but I understand his frustration. He's getting pretty much asked the same question over and over and over. What do you want a guy to say? I mean, sometimes media drives me nuts because all they want the guys to say something that they're going to report and start something on with it. And I think he could have been a little bit more professional, but yet I don't blame him for how he did it.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, I kind of like when my teams that I root for are mad that they lost the game. Don't go up there and give me the same stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Be mad.
cliches get old. I mean, hockey's the worst. I mean, I love hockey, the coaches, you heard them. Their cliches are to a T. Like you can almost answer the question before they're even.
Remember Bull Durham giving this speech?
Yeah.
What you say when you get up to the show?
Yeah,
Everything like that. So
that's basically what they do.
But I get it. So I'm kind of was fine with that. What about this? Everybody talked for the entire week. All everybody talked about was what Cam Newton did in there. But then the news breaks earlier in the week about Peyton Manning and what happened to him in Tennessee with an athletic trainer, in which he basically gave a trainer a mushroom stamp.
What?
A mushroom stamp.
Is that some kind of drug or something? Is that like something that Bill Cosby was slipping in somebody's drink? What the hell's a mushroom stamp?
Come here, JT.
Please demonstrate. Oh, you put it there? Oh,
Right off the
horrible.
forehead. You see, just like that.
The
You
scientific
see the little stamp right there
The
on his forehead?
scientific thing Jim's trying to say is he put his penis on her forehead. And if I would have done it to Peyton Manning, I'd have put my penis on his 5 head, but it didn't happen. So.
Did you see the before and after pictures of that guy's forehead? I've never seen anything grow.
I haven't
like
seen anything grow like that since the Barry Bonds pictures. I mean, honestly, his head grew.
It makes me think there's some legitimacy to these HGH. Yeah.
Either that, he's very
But
smart.
why aren't we talking about that? Why is it that he had that sexual assault happen? And part of it is because Facebook was. I read an article today. Facebook wasn't even invented until 3 months after that happened. Twitter was 3 years, so it never had a chance to go viral with the what happened with the athletic trainer. But then the story that keeps going on is that they made a settlement with her, and then they badmouthed her, and they had a deal that they weren't supposed to talk about. Then they badmouthed her in a book or something that came out in 2000.
This sounds like the Bill Cosby story.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then they made another settlement. Then they went back to saying something about her, and then they had a third settlement, and now here we are today, and it's all coming out again because somebody had an article where they found. It's just interesting that why do we talk about Cam Newton and how he acted after a press conference, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the HGH, but we investigate Tom Brady's balls, so to speak. Why do we do that stuff?
It's Peyton's.
Is Peyton that? Is he
Peyton's
untouchable?
prick and,
It is. The media is a weird thing sometimes. It ain't like I know a lot of people will say it's racial, it's this, it's that, but I think the media just picks who they think are villains. Like
Who's a
you
good
said
guy?
with Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't do many interviews, doesn't do commercials. He's a bad guy. Manning's everywhere. Everybody loves Peyton Manning. People don't go after him. It's weird how the media just picks up on a certain person or a certain group, and that's what they go after. I mean,
I don't even think it's racial in that. I think they destroyed Roethlisberger pretty good, and he's a white guy. But they also destroyed Ray Rice as well. So I think it's kind of.
well, Ray Rice. I mean,
Ray Rice had it
you
coming.
you pretty much. They were actually pretty lenient on him till that video came out.
So the video came up. But
they did a real good job.
But if you think about what Ben went through without a video, just a girl's hearsay, that not we're gonna say he was innocent or not guilty, but I mean,
never charged, never nothing.
charged, and he had
not even arrested.
What do you get? 6-game suspension, reduced to 4 or whatever
For
it was that
nothing.
year for nothing.
yeah,
I mean,
I agree with that.
And now Peyton Manning, look what he had done, and there's nothing goes on there.
I'll say
They don't
that
even look into it.
where there's that much smoke, there's fire with Roethlisberger. Something was not right.
back in the day, he was doing some bad things. There's no doubt. He was he's matured a lot, but I think I've actually seen him out in public a couple of times, and he's real egotistical. At least he was.
Is that where you got that stamp from?
And I seen him one time with him and Brett Kiesel. Brett Kiesel was the nicest guy, and Ben wouldn't give the crowd a 2-second turnaround and wave to him.
But in that guy's defense, though, that guy got destroyed by everybody. You know how many times he probably walks and hears Rapist Burger or whatever whenever he's doing something? I get why he wouldn't want to talk to somebody. But what I don't get is how he gets destroyed. This one gets destroyed. This one gets destroyed. Manning gets a free pass time after time after time after time.
Because the media decides who their darling is going to be.
It never changes.
The funny thing that I've noticed about the media in the United States, not only with sports, with other things too.
Oh, here we
A
go.
lot with entertainment. Yeah, I'm not getting political. I know you think that's where I'm going. That's not where I'm going. For instance, they love to build up somebody only to watch them crash and burn. Because there's nothing better than building somebody up and putting them on top of that mountain and watching them fall all the way back down to the bottom. Whether it be Bill Cosby, nobody's worse off than Bill Cosby.
Nah, he's got it bad right
Yeah,
now.
he's a really bad. And I'm not saying the man didn't. I think the man's guilty as can be. Britney Spears
That was
is
just-
another one. She's
Yep.
America's sweetheart, and then the girl goes crazy, starts shaving her head, starts beating her boyfriend's car with a pizza box or something.
The new one's what's her name? The Miley Cyrus. She was on Disney Channel and playing these kids shows, and all of a sudden, they can't get enough of bashing her now. So you're right. The media likes to, but like Jimmy said, Peyton Manning has a free pass. They build him up, but they ain't tearing him down. Which I don't get.
I think they are going to tear him down. They'll tear him down starting next year whenever he's retired.
But why do you give him like he was saying? Why give him the free pass? Why not? Why didn't you bash him the whole?
Because he's the face of the NFL right now, and he's the good boy. He's not going to be important to the NFL next year.
I loved it. I loved the tweet after the Super Bowl that was sent out by James Harrison, and all he said in there was, "Had I endorsed Budweiser, there'd be $100,000 fine waiting for me already."
That's a legitimate point.
And that's not the first time; it's the second time.
I
I
don't
talked about that earlier that he's done that.
I don't think it's a racial issue.
No, I don't think so.
I think
either.
Harrison has a target on his back because, I mean, let's face it, not so much in the last 3 years, but 4 years ago, I mean, that man would.
Yeah, I think Vontez Burfict. He's seen what Harrison went through in his career.
He's the new
The James Harrison. Yeah, he
absolutely.
and he actually, I'll tell you what, he's earned it. He's definitely earned it.
Yeah,
Your cash register's going on.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? I got this old.
He's
school.
making
This
money
is
here.
the second podcast. This is the second time that we've had the phone go off. And
By the way, just
That's a rotary dial. Too,
I hate being wrong, and I was wrong in the first segment. Is Bill Belichick is the oldest tenured coach. 2000 he started in New England. 2003 for Marvin Lewis just seems longer for me. And Terrell Owens had a great season his 1 year in Cincy. I don't understand why he didn't play after that, but I had a brain fart and did not remember him in Cincy.
his attitude sucked. His attitude was so bad in Cincinnati. I mean, that's what I was referring to. I can't remember what the situation was. I think we knocked the Bengals out of the playoffs, possibly the year he was in there in the final game of the season, and they were down and trying to get down the field. I want to say they were on their own 30-yard line, and he's walking back to the line of scrimmage. They're having him run the side route all the way down the field, and then he has to come back to get back in the huddle, and here comes this guy walking down the field, not even caring, and the quarterback's going nuts, waiting for him to get back. It was just hard to watch. And I like Terrell Owens. I always liked Terrell Owens. I thought he was and I like Chad Johnson, too. I think those were two guys that were...
So since we're talking about him, Pro Football Hall of Fame. He wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He deserves it. 15,000 yards. I just looked it up, and
But they passed on him.
I don't get it. I don't get
It's his
that's
attitude.
definitely the attitude, and that's something they shouldn't. Attitude should have nothing to do. It should have nothing to do with it. I mean, honestly, I mean,
I don't know.
it's your attitude, but you still put up the numbers. You still performed on the field. You ain't. If you want to put guys in there for their attitude, I mean, put real good guys in that didn't put numbers up. You know, that's,
Well, but I think it's a total package. I think you got to be that. Given what you're saying with the attitude, then you're saying Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Every time we start talking about the Hall of Fame,
That was just a setup.
believer.
That was a complete setup.
I'm a firm believer that baseball's messing it all up with Rose and Bonds. I mean, there's no way Bonds and Clemens shouldn't be in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a bad time in baseball for that year, but there was a dead ball era. There's the home run era. There's the big HGH era, but they deserved to be in it. They were the best players at their time. I'm not saying everybody was doing it, but a good bit of people in the league were doing it. There's no doubt.
okay, let's go around the table real quick. Did Peyton Manning do HGH?
I want to say yes, but I want to say he didn't do it for the reasons people say. I think when he had his neck problems, he just did it to rehabilitate a little bit faster and get back in the game.
Do you think that he knew he was doing HGH?
Definitely.
I think this is all allegedly. First off,
Of course. Yeah, allegedly, do you think?
Allegedly, I think
This
he
is his
did. Yeah, I
personal
mean,
opinion.
yeah.
This
My
is
personal opinion was he definitely. There's no athlete in the world that don't know what they're doing. There's nobody that does. I mean, you're a guy like Peyton Manning who's been around as long as he has. He works out all the time. There ain't no athlete in the world that just either injects himself with something or takes pills they're not aware of.
I think you already presented the evidence earlier when you said his forehead became a 5-head. Investigation is now over, allegedly.
No, I'm with you. I think he probably did it, but I don't think he did it for the wrong reasons. And going back to the Barry Bonds thing, I don't blame Barry Bonds for doing what he did. I just don't. Not whenever you see Jose Canseco,
Mark McGwire.
You see Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. They're getting all the media, and there's Barry Bonds, who's a better ball player than all three of those guys put together, and he's getting crapped on. I don't blame him at all for doing it. You see these other guys getting away with it.
That's another media darling. Not speak about it. Mark McGwire lied.
Oh, yeah.
Under oath, and nobody brings it up. Mark McGwire literally, don't get me wrong, Bonds lied to the media if he did do it, but he wasn't under oath. What McGwire did was, pathetic. Honestly, it was, and the media
I don't want
never...
to talk about the past.
Never does anything.
I want to talk about the future.
McGwire hit 49 homers his rookie year as an Oakland A with very minimal body build. He's a tall, big dude, but he was skinny.
That was before he got into the roids.
That's what I mean. And Barry Bonds put up 2 MVPs before he started the supposed roids. These guys were good ball players. They were already going to be Hall of Fame players. I don't know what happened. The pressure of other guys. They saw guys like Brady Anderson and Sammy Sosa come out of nowhere, and they're like, "What the heck?" I'm getting beat by these guys that 2 years ago were hitting 18 homers.
What did Bonds finish his career with? I know you can tell me. How many home runs?
I don't know right off the head. I don't know. 700 and I'm gonna say 772.
How many do you think he hits if he doesn't do the juice?
771.
You think he gets over 500?
Definitely. His bat speed. Some of them homers he hit, I don't think it had anything to do with HGH. Unless it makes your eyes that much sharper. He was hitting bombs. I don't know how much that really makes a difference when he was already a great ball player that was driving the ball. But I guess it does make a difference because Brady Anderson hit 51 homers the one year and never, ever came close to that again, beforehand and after.
762, by the way.
I was off by 10. I had the 62, by 72. 762 bombs. Will that ever be beaten?
2,935 hits?
No, not until they legalize steroids. That will never be beaten.
4 short of 2,000 RBIs.
And only 65 short of 3,000 hits. That guy could have literally been a 3,000 hit, 700 homer guy, which...
I think steroids, and we're going to wrap this up shortly. I think steroids get a really bad rap, and I'm just going to go off on a tangent right here.
No, boy.
Because steroids don't kill people. They just don't. Everyone likes to point at and I'm going to go down my...
Is it guns? Guns
here.
do it?
Yeah, guns kill people. No, it's and that was not a political statement. Trust me, I have more guns than that was a joke. That was sarcasm. I don't think it's the steroids that kill people. I just don't believe it because if the steroids were killing people, you would have Major League Baseball players dropping dead at the age of 50, left and right. Everyone likes to point at the professional wrestling, which I consider myself an expert in. It's not the steroids killing these guys. It's the lifestyle and the pain pills just to get through the next
cocaines and the drugs.
I think HGH could actually be good for people if used properly under a doctor's prescription.
I think Peyton Manning. I think that's what Peyton Manning did. He had that bad neck. They basically were saying, it wasn't just rumors. He was going to retire, and I believe that's when he took the HGH. Oh. He didn't get stronger. He just got back in a little bit.
You guys should know I was born with a 3 head.
You do have a small head.
I was born with a 3 head. I got on HGH. Now I have a 4 head.
That's
all good.
That's good.
And you got a nice stamp on your forehead.
I do. I got a stamp, mushroom stamp. We need people at home just to go over the podcast. Say we learned what a mushroom stamp was. We learned that I forgot all about Terrell Owens in his career, and PJ actually knew that Owens played at the end. I just Johnny PJ Bobby Steele.
And that's one of those rare times where I'm actually going to be right about something like that, and he'll be wrong. So
and don't worry, next week's broadcast will remind us that he was right.
You're damn right. Every week coming in, I'm going to announce what I was right about the week before that everybody else was wrong about, and that's going to open up. As a matter, I have to come up with some theme music. I just as I'm coming in with my expertise from the previous.
Speak some kind of like royal thing, like.
Yeah, that could happen. Toby's wrong. We'll get him wrong. He's been 2 for 2 in the 2 podcasts.
And then we're gonna nail him.
Right.
But going forward, the future podcast next week, we're gonna have the Penguins and Pirates. Talk about the Penguins at the trade deadline. Talk about the Pirates going to spring training. We got a special guest in March, Howard Smith, a hockey guy, really well known around the Pittsburgh area. We're gonna have some NFL draft talk coming up. We got a little bit of everything for you all, so keep downloading.
And I'm sure there'll be mushroom stamps in your future too.
Take it easy. My 11-year-old daughter just walked into the room to talk about mushroom stamps. Have you seen the new mushroom stamps? They're it's postage. The United States Postal Service just put out a special edition. It's really nice, really nice. Do we have anything else going on? Are we done?
Oh, it's still going?
Yeah, we're still going.
I thought we were done. Nah, that should be it. Just next week, Penguins and Pirates. So guys, do your due diligence. Due diligence. Due diligence.
I'll tell you one thing we want to talk about next week. I want to talk about All-Star games.
Oh, that's a big good one. I've had it with it. That NBA score last night, 195 to 184. Seriously.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it's like 195 to 184. That's ridiculous.
It was almost like 98 to 92 at halftime. It was awful.
No defense.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That'd be a good thing going forward. Though I can honestly say I think baseball is the only All-Star game that got it right because
we'll save that for next week. So
it.
are we gonna sign off?
There you go.
Off.
All right.
Peace out.
Talk to you next week.
How long did it end up?